United Nations makes 2 donations in the local fight against COVID-19. Mingo's contempt of court proceedings to be heard tomorrow. Cash-strapped Guysuco needs a bailout once again. In the region, Haiti records 3,000 virus cases in 1 month. And internationally, Iran braces for new coronavirus wave after surge in infections. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. I am George Gonzalez. Thank you for joining us. The certified elections recount documents for all 10 districts have been delivered to Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield for tabulation. He is now expected to tabulate the results, as well as prepare a summary of the observations that were made during the recount process for the GCOM commissioners. They are expected to review the results and come to an agreement before the final declaration is made on or before June 16th. Former returning officer for District 4, Claremont Mingo, is about to face the courts, and in this report, Bibi Bacchus tells us that if he is found guilty, he could face a jail sentence.
The contempt of court proceedings against embattled former GCOM returning officer for District 4, Claremont Mingo, is slated to begin tomorrow. Following the March 2020 elections, the People's Progressive Party Civic filed contempt of court proceedings against Mingo over his failure to comply with several court orders issued by the High Court in relation to the counting and tabulation of votes for Region 4. These proceedings were filed by the late Riaz Hollander and are accusing Mingo of using a pre-prepared spreadsheet as the basis for ascertaining and adding up the said votes. The party argues that Mingo's actions are in clear breach of the Representation of the People's Act. Contempt of court is a criminal offense. If found guilty, Mingo can face up to 3 months in prison or a fine of $250,000. For Headline News Update, Bibi Bacchus.
Thanks, Bibi. This morning, executive members of the People's Progressive Party Civic met with the Commissioner of Police, Leslie James, to discuss a number of issues, including the protection of state assets. According to the party's presidential candidate, Irfan Ali, the group discussed the protection of state assets, keeping the peace post-elections, and pursuing persons who are accused of making racist comments on social media. Ali said that Commissioner James has assured them that systems are in place to protect state assets and that he will look into the other matters that were addressed. Stick around. Coming up after the break, cash-strapped Guysuco needs a bailout once again, and United Nations makes 2 donations in the local fight against COVID-19.
Smart Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized gear, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness, or join our Beccaphonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Hurry down to Zasco on 15 North Road between Camp and Wellington Streets. Quality products at low cost for every room in your home. 65 and 55 inches Hisense 4K smart TVs. Samsung French door fridges. Black & Decker appliances, queen and king size Canadian-made mattresses. German-made pressure pots in 5 to 9 liters. 12-piece pot sets, knife sets, cutlery sets and pans, commercial fans. Samsung smart stoves. Canadian-made 3-piece recliner sofa sets. Air fryers and Hamilton Beach hot and cold water dispenser.
Oh gosh, what's this? Me son can't read or spell. Stop! 0 out of 20. Is what I gonna do here?
Hi guys, my name is Ms. Purdy Singh and I'm the senior teacher at the Treasure After School program. Due to the spread of the coronavirus and the need for social distancing, we have moved our in-class learning activities to online via Skype. On the online side, we will be focusing on spelling, phonics, reading, and the National Grade 6 assessments. For more information, you can inbox us or call us.
Contact us on 675-4379. I can call them now. Hidden Treasures, discovering gems in young minds.
Welcome back. The unlicensed minibus driver who was involved in a fatal accident at the Rupert Craig Highway appeared before the Sperrendam Magistrates Court to answer to 2 charges. Patrick Rudolph Edwards was accused of driving a minibus in a manner dangerous to the public, thereby causing the death of 20-year-old Guysuco on May 28, 2020. He was also charged for driving without a license. He denied both charges, but nevertheless he was released on bail, and he is expected to appear in court again on June 30th. The Guyana Sugar Corporation is short of cash, so bad that Esther Sobers tells us that the company has doubts that it will even make it to next week without the government's assistance.
The Guyana Sugar Corporation is struggling to stay afloat. According to a statement, Guysuco is in $2.1 billion of debt, and as such, the company is working at a bare minimum and will be unable to pay its workers in the upcoming weeks. In a letter by John Dow, chairman of the Guysuco board, written to President David Granger May 15th, the chairman laid out the financial predicament of the industry. Dow said he was mandated by the board to explain the crisis the organization is in and requested intervention. Dow said that despite improvements in the production of cane, production for the last 2 crops has fallen short of expectations, and the COVID-19 pandemic has only exacerbated problems experienced in meeting the first crop for 2020. As a result of the lack of cash generated, Dow said that the operations will be difficult to continue. Dow further stated, quote, "Our finance department estimates the corporation is expected to be out of cash in the 2nd week in June, and until then, we can only afford to meet labor, fuel, and cane farmers' payments and the bare essentials," end quote. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. The United Nations system provided a quantity of items to the Ministry of Public Health to support the quality of stay of patients in the country's COVID-19 quarantine facilities. Reclining chairs, coffee tables, microwaves, electric kettles, tablets, and pillows with cases were provided in a 2-part donation on the 27th of May and the 4th of June 2020. Contributing agencies were the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the United Nations Development Program, the United Nations Refugee Agency, and the Office of the UN Resident Coordinator. The donation is just one element of the UN's efforts to strengthen the capacity of health systems led by PAHO World Health Organization and supported by a number of other agencies. Following this donation, PAHO also made another donation to Guyana. Today, they contributed over $7.9 million Guyana dollars worth of essential items to the Georgetown Mayor and City Council. Among the donated items were chemical respirators, rubber boots, safety goggles, gloves, hand-washing sinks, and a mist blower. Several social distancing floor markers and vinyl posters, along with self-quarantine vinyl posters with COVID-19 messages, as well as 2 billboards which were established at Starbrook and Border Markets, were also donated to support the public awareness efforts. Don't go away. Coming up after the break, Haiti records 3,000 virus cases in 1 month, and Iran braces for new coronavirus wave after surge in infections.
Smart Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized care, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Crow Street or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Hurry down to Zasco on 15 North Road between Camp and Wellington Streets. Quality products at low cost for every room in your home. 65 and 55 inches high-end 4K smart TVs. Samsung French door fridges. Black & Decker appliances, queen and king size Canadian-made mattresses. German-made pressure pots in 5 to 9 liters. 12-piece pot sets, knife sets, cutlery sets and pans, commercial fans. Samsung smart stoves. Canadian-made 3-piece recliner sofa sets. Air fryers and Hamilton Beach hot and cold water dispenser.
Oh gosh, what's this? Me son can't read or spell. Stop! 0 out of 20. Is what I gonna do here?
Hi guys, my name is Mingo and I'm the senior teacher at the literature after school program. Due to the spread of the coronavirus and the need for social distancing, we have moved our in-class learning activities to online via Skype. On the online side, we will be focusing on spelling, phonics, reading, and the National Grade 6 assessments. For more information, you can inbox us or call us.
Contact us on 675-4379.
I can call them now.
Hidden Treasures, discovering gems in young minds.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. Haiti has recorded more than 3,000 cases of the coronavirus during a 1-month period, as the French-speaking CARICOM country announced that 262 cases had been confirmed over 24 hours on Monday. Haiti's Ministry of Public Health said the new cases bring the total to 3,334 since the first case was detected on March 19th. In the past 30 days, there had been 3,205 positive cases, and that the death toll had increased by 1 to 51. The Ministry of Health also noted that there were 3,259 active cases, while the number of suspected cases since March 19th is 7,351. The Pan American Health Organization says it is going to take a lot longer to stop the spread of COVID-19 in Latin America. The number of infections is growing exponentially in Brazil, Peru, and Mexico. Analysts believe that economic inequality is largely to blame for the region becoming the new coronavirus epicenter. Al Jazeera's Manuel Rapallo reports.
Life almost appears to be back to normal in Rio de Janeiro. The return of crowds to public beaches, however, doesn't mean things are improving. Despite an easing of restrictions, Brazil remains the country worst affected by coronavirus in all of Latin America. While the worsening outbreak in Brazil is an extreme example, other Latin American countries are also struggling to contain the virus. Health officials say widespread inequality have made the crisis worse.
We know that Latin America is the most inequitable region in the world and also one of the most urbanized regions in the world. So we have big cities like Rio, Sao Paulo, Lima, in where they are surrounded by belt of poverty and inequities. So the same lockdown that was applied in Europe to a certain extent cannot be completely applied in Latin America and the Caribbean.
In Mexico, authorities say they expect the height of contagion to occur near the end of June. And despite the worsening health crisis, the government has begun a gradual reopening of the economy. Health workers say this is a worrying sign.
Obviously, everyone is worried to see that people are basically going about their normal lives. And being in the health sector, you know the consequences that will have. So we're hoping that this doesn't go on too long, but at the end of the day, we know what the consequences will be.
Another hard-hit country is Peru, which neared 200,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 on Tuesday. Hospitals in the capital, Lima, are nearing a breaking point. The country's president, Martín Vizcarra, paid his respects to the 52 health workers who died in the fight against coronavirus.
The situation, as we all know, is a very difficult and complex one because this disease has caught us in a situation with a precarious health system with many needs.
Latin America was the last region to be hardest hit by the coronavirus, and now health officials warn it could take longer to recover than other parts of the world. Manuel Rapalo, Al Jazeera.
And internationally, an alarming flare-up of coronavirus cases in Iran has raised fresh fears over a broad COVID-19 resurgence, sparking official warnings of new restrictions and underlining the sanctions-battered country's challenge of returning to post-virus normalcy. Al Jazeera's Zain Balvari reports.
It's been a worrying week for many Iranians. The number of daily coronavirus infections is back at record levels, not seen since March. Doctors say the threat of a second wave of COVID-19 is very real.
Yes, there will be a second wave if personal hygiene is not observed. We may again face a sharp curve. People are careful to some extent, but it's better if they care more, with smaller crowds and more caution, God willing.
Globally, the coronavirus is spreading faster than ever. Last week, Johns Hopkins University recorded the highest infection rates so far. In Iran, where COVID-19 infections were waning after the lockdown, they're again increasing in at least 10 out of 31 provinces. Control measures on public life were eased last month, something health ministry officials warned might make people complacent. Infection fears seem to have become less of a concern for some, and intercity travel during holidays and weekends is on the rise again. Iran's president says that people should learn to adapt and live with the virus, not bend or ignore social distancing rules.
People and businesses must seriously take into consideration warnings and precautionary measures by officials about the resurgence of the disease. The noble people of Iran should know if these measures are not taken seriously anywhere in the country, or God forbid the disease rises again, authorities will be forced to bring back some restrictions, and that would affect the normal life of citizens and badly harm the economy.
For people running shops that opened only a few weeks ago and are still recovering losses from the first lockdown, the prospect of a second one is unthinkable. Some say threatening another lockdown shows the government is out of touch with the people.
President Rouhani is living on easy street. He is not thinking about us, the young Iranians. I am 32 and I have nothing of my own. No car, no flat, not even a simple motorbike. Some money to start a small business. They live on easy street. They give orders and we have to say okay.
Others say if the government wants people to stay at home, they should compensate them, as has been done in other countries.
If they pay the expenses of people like me, street vendors, and even these traders for 2 to 3 months, then they can say shut down your businesses. Shut down is not difficult, it's easy, but where will people find money?
Talking to Iranians about a second wave of the virus, the response is always the same: God forbid. But even as they carry on with their lives, health experts say it's not if a second wave is coming, but when. Zain Basravi, Al Jazeera, Tehran.
That's all for today's regional and international news. Here is your 3-day weather forecast. all for this edition of Headline News Update. Tune in Friday at 6 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Also, visit our website at headlinenewsguyana.com for all the news we couldn't fit in the newscast. Until then, take care.